You don't see the trap until it's too late, especially when it looks like hope. This is echoes of the past, stories of real people, dark turns, and the fight to find a way out. Hi, my name is Mira, and I should have known something was wrong the moment I stepped into that house. I came to the US with nothing but a suitcase, a nursing degree, and hope. Hope that this country would finally offer me the life I'd been dreaming of. So when I got the call from a private care agency, offering me a live-in position with generous pay, full benefits, and sponsorship help, it felt like a miracle. A perfect job. Too perfect. They said I'd be caring for an elderly woman in upstate New York, Marjorie Caldwell, widowed, reclusive, quiet. The family couldn't provide care, so they hired out. And they chose me. Andrew, the family representative, met me at the train station, polite, crisp suit, nice smile. He spoke slowly, like he thought I couldn't understand him. But I could. And I understood something else, too. He was watching me. The house was beautiful, isolated, surrounded by trees, huge, silent, like the kind of place people go to disappear. Inside, everything smelled like lemons and old money. And then I met her, Ms. Caldwell. She was in a reclining chair draped in silk with wires connected to a machine I'd never seen before. She didn't speak, didn't blink, just stared, as if her body was present. But the rest of her had long since left. Andrew leaned in and said, "She's in an advanced state of decline. Your job is simple, keep her comfortable. The routine is everything, no deviations." I nodded, and just like that, the door shut behind me. By the second day, the house already felt less like a job and more like a test. The schedule was strict. Every minute of my time was accounted for. Meals at exact hours, cleaning procedures down to the type of soap, even how long I was allowed to take for bathroom breaks. I wasn't allowed to go outside after sunset. "Security reasons," Andrew said, always with that same smile. "The property backs into private woods. We've had incidents." There were cameras in every hallway. Some were visible. Others I only noticed when the light caught them just right. Tiny black domes tucked into ceiling corners, always pointed in my direction. My phone stopped working the moment I arrived. No signal, no Wi-Fi. Andrew said it was for privacy compliance. At first I told myself this was just how rich people lived. Insulated, paranoid, obsessed with control. But soon I realized this wasn't luxury. This was something else. Miss Caldwell didn't speak. She barely moved. But somehow she always knew when I was in the room. Her eyes followed me, even when I didn't make a sound. I tested it once. I entered silently, from behind, barefoot. Her head turned, ever so slightly. Just enough to lock eyes with me. I dropped the water pitcher I was carrying. Andrew came running. "Is everything all right?" he asked, too quickly. I nodded. "Just clumsy." He didn't look convinced. Later that night, I couldn't sleep. I kept thinking about her. The way her pupils seemed to dilate when I moved, like she was trying to tell me something, but her mouth no longer worked. The next day, while organizing medical supplies, I opened a drawer I hadn't noticed before. In the very back, behind a pile of unused gloves, was something strange. A small leather-bound notebook. I almost didn't take it, but something made me slip it under my shirt and into my room. That night, I read it. The handwriting was cramped, desperate. The entries were signed by someone named Alina. Whoever she was, she'd been here before me. "They don't tell you the truth," the first page said. "Don't believe the calm. Watch the mirrors. Stay awake." Page after page, Alina detailed strange occurrences. Lost time, headaches, dreams that bled into waking hours. The final entry wasn't dated. It just said, "If you're reading this, get out while you still can." My hands were shaking. I looked up and noticed the red light blinking again. Not once, but twice, like it knew I'd found it. The next morning, I woke up to find the notebook gone. I searched everywhere, under the mattress, behind the dresser, even inside the pillowcase. Nothing. It had vanished. Someone had been in my room. I wanted to confront Andrew, demand answers. But something told me not to. Not yet. So I acted normal, followed the schedule, kept my eyes open. That day, Ms. Caldwell's condition seemed different. She was more alert. Her fingers twitched when I adjusted her blanket. Her lips moved, silently, like she was mouthing words only she could hear. "Do you remember Alina?" I whispered, barely breathing the words. Her eyes widened. A tear slid down her cheek. That was the moment I knew. She was in there, trapped, and I had to find out why. That night, I stayed awake long after lights out. At 3 a.m., I crept into the staff hallway, the one I wasn't supposed to enter without permission. At the end was a locked door labeled "Medical, Authorized Only." I pressed my ear to it. Silence. Then, a soft hum, like machines running. I jimmied the lock with a hairpin. Took me 3 tries. My hands wouldn't stop shaking. Inside was a small, sterile room. Charts on the wall, a computer, medical files neatly labeled in alphabetical order. I found one marked Caldwell Marjorie, Phase 4. Inside were pages of documentation, not just medical history, but observational data, charts measuring sleep patterns, brain activity, emotional response under isolation. It wasn't caregiving. It was research. There was another folder, locked inside a cabinet. It had my name on it. I froze. When I opened it, I saw a profile photo, taken on my first day without me knowing. Below it were pages of notes. Subject exhibits high compliance. Language barrier increases containment efficiency. Containment. That word hit me like ice water. I backed away from the cabinet and knocked over a tray. The noise echoed like thunder. Footsteps, fast, coming down the hall. I ran, slipped back into my room just before the door opened. Andrew stood there, his face calm, his smile sharp. "Is everything all right, Mira?" I nodded, heart racing. Just couldn't sleep. He lingered, then said, "You're adjusting very well. Most don't make it past the first week." He closed the door and locked it from the outside. I didn't sleep that night. I sat in the corner of the room, knees pulled to my chest, eyes fixed on the door, still locked. What was this place? Who were these people? And how many girls like me had come through these halls never to leave? The next morning, I pretended nothing had changed. I dressed, followed the routine, smiled. Andrew said nothing about the night before, but I could feel it. The way the cameras turned when I walked, how the staff hallway door now had a second lock. They knew I knew, but they didn't know what I'd found. That afternoon, while bathing Ms. Caldwell, I leaned in close, whispered, "I know what they did to you." I saw the files. Her eyes fluttered. Her mouth opened slightly. A sound escaped, faint, dry, like wind passing through broken glass. "Help!" My breath caught. "What?" She blinked slowly. Tears welled in her eyes. "They took everything," she rasped. "My name, my thoughts, turned me into data." I held her hand. It was ice cold, but she squeezed back, weakly but real. "They call it treatment," she said. "But it's a cage. I remember, not all of it, but enough. The others." Her voice broke. I could see the terror behind her eyes. Whatever she had endured, it hadn't just been medical. It had been deliberate. "How do I get out?" I whispered. She looked at me, and for the first time her gaze was completely clear. "The basement," she said. "Alina tried, but she didn't make it." I froze. "What's in the basement?" "Proof," she said. "They record everything. Memories, trials. They think I don't remember, but I do." Just then the door creaked open. Andrew stood there, clipboard in hand. "Time for her afternoon injection," he said smoothly. I nodded, moved aside, but my hands were clenched into fists. Something had changed. I wasn't just surviving anymore. I was planning. If I could get into the basement, whatever was down there could set us both free, but I had to be careful. Because now I knew something else. They weren't just watching me, they were testing me. That night, I waited until the cameras blinked their sleepy pattern, the one I'd memorized after days of pretending not to notice. Every 27 minutes, the hallway camera rotated 2 inches to the left. That was my window. I moved fast, silent, carrying only a flashlight and the key card I'd lifted from Andrew's coat the day before. The basement door was heavier than I expected. Cold metal, no markings, just a single keypad. The card beeped green. The lock clicked. I stepped into darkness. It didn't smell like a basement. It smelled like chemicals and old metal and something sour, like fear soaked into concrete. Rows of filing cabinets, medical equipment, a wall of monitors, all showing different rooms in the mansion, including mine, including hers. And then the tapes, dozens of them, labeled by name. Alina, Trial 3. Mira, Entry. Caldwell, Final Phase. I put one into the player, static, then footage. Ms. Caldwell, younger, vibrant, strapped to a chair, electrodes on her head. Andrew stood beside her, dictating into a recorder. Subject shows resistance to memory partitioning, increasing frequency. She screamed. I ripped the tape out. I couldn't watch more. I grabbed everything I could, printouts, drives, a hard disk labeled Experiment Neural Subjugation. As I turned to leave, I heard something. Breathing. She screamed. I ripped the tape out. I couldn't watch more. I grabbed everything I could, printouts, drives, a hard disk labeled Experiment Neural Subjugation. As I turned to leave, I heard something. Breathing. Not mine. From behind the shelves, a shadow moved. It wasn't Andrew. It was a girl. Pale, wide-eyed, barefoot, wearing an old staff uniform. Her mouth moved, but no sound came out. Alina. She stepped toward me, reached out, and suddenly alarms blared. The lights snapped on. The door slammed shut. I turned. No way out. The cameras blinked above me, watching, recording. Then I heard Miss Caldwell's voice, not in the room, but from a speaker overhead. You found it, Mira. Now finish it. The lights flickered. The floor vibrated, like something powering down, and just like that, the door unlocked. I ran. Through the halls, past the rooms, past Andrew shouting behind me, out into the night, through the woods, carrying the truth in a bag pressed against my chest. I didn't stop until I reached the nearest road and flagged down a trucker with shaking hands. The footage, the files, everything made it out with me. The facility was shut down 3 weeks later. Multiple arrests, media frenzy. But Ms. Caldwell was never found. The mansion had already been emptied. Sometimes I wonder if she planned it that way. If her final words to me, "Now finish it," weren't just about escaping. Maybe she meant something else, because sometimes, late at night, I hear the sound again. The breathing. From just behind my bedroom door. If this story moved you, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share your thoughts in the comments.